Hello, my name is Sarah Johnston, and this is my presentation on the environmental disaster in Times Beach, Missouri. The following are the purpose and objectives of the presentation. First, to recognize the environmental disaster that took place in Times Beach, Missouri in the 1970s. Second, to understand the toxins that were present in this case. Third, to analyze the environmental and human impacts of this environmental disaster. And lastly, to look at where Times Beach, Missouri is today. First, we will look at the story behind this environmental disaster and how we got here. We will go through the timeline of events that occurred leading up to this disaster and then after. We will go through the toxins involved in this case, specifically dioxin and Agent Orange, and how they were involved. And then we will go over the environmental and human health costs of this tragedy using studies that were conducted both during the tragedy and after. Here you will see a before and after map of Times Beach, Missouri. The picture of the map on the left was taken in 1990 after the dioxin poisoning occurred and the town was abandoned. If you look closely, you can still see the old streets and houses that belonged to its residents prior to the contamination. On the right, you'll see a more recent photo in which the town and its infrastructure was wiped out and now is a state park. The chemical that was responsible for contaminating Times Beach, Missouri, and making it unlivable was dioxin. Dioxin, or 2378 tierchlorodibenzo P-dioxin, or also referred to as TCDD, is an involuntary byproduct of Agent Orange that is toxic to plants, humans, and animals. Agent Orange was being produced at this time due to the U.S.'s involvement in the Vietnam War, in which chemical herbicide warfare was used. In Table 1, you can see the properties of TCDD. It is a colorless, odorless solid that is a persistent organic pollutant. The levels of toxicity of TCDD can be seen below. Only a small amount of the pollutant is deemed toxic to life. It can cause developmental effects, cancer, and oxidative stress. The people of Times Beach were exposed to TCDD through oral inhalation. This is a timeline of the events that took place in Times Beach. Dioxin came to contaminate the area when the town did not have enough money to pave its roads. And with a dust problem, hired Russell Bliss. He sprayed the roads with a mixture that included dioxin to help keep the dust down. After many horses and small animals died and a child got sick, the EPA opened an investigation into the dioxin levels of the town. Closely after, the Merrimack River flooded, and every corner of the town was exposed to TCDD. The town was bought by the government so that soil, homes, and debris could be incinerated. The town had to be deserted. Only until 1999 was the cleanup complete, and the area was reopened as a state park. The health implications of this disaster were researched during the cleanup. In the 1990s, TCDD blood levels of residents living 4 kilometers from the incineration site of Times Beach, also called the study area, were observed against the comparison area, or those participants who lived over 15 kilometers away from the site. The study area's TCDD levels were higher before incineration, but by the end of the incineration period, both groups' levels decreased, and it was concluded that incineration of TCDD did not result in any measurable exposure to the population surrounding the incinerator. If the town was not evacuated, the human and animal losses could have been devastating. In the study from 1988, guinea pigs were exposed to the levels of TCDD in soil from Times Beach and compared to TCDD soil from Newark, New Jersey. Within 20 days, the majority of test guinea pigs died from the Times Beach soil, while only one from the Newark, New Jersey soil. The TCDD in the Times Beach soil was proven to be much more bioavailable and hazardous. It can also be seen in this figure how the Times Beach soil was multiple times higher in TCDD than the Newark soil. To conclude, in Times Beach, Missouri, dioxin levels were found to be 100 times the safe level. Times Beach was eventually cleaned up and able to reopen as a state park about 25 years after the initial contamination. The EPA deleted Times Beach off of the National Priorities List in 2001, and the EPA and the state of Missouri determined that the site was no longer posing a significant threat to public health or the environment.